What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new league racing video on the channel here today. We're back once again for EML F1, this time for round number 6, I think this is, the Austrian Grand Prix. So, yeah, coming into this, can't lie, I was feeling pretty confident about the race car, but my pace over one lap was very inconsistent. The main thing which I was really struggling with was track limits. That's something that you don't hear me talk about all too often, yeah, track limits around here, it's so easy to just run a tiny bit wide or use a bit too much curb, and just like that, your lap is over, and depending on where you invalidate, it's this and next as well. So yeah, it's very easy to get wrong around here, so hopefully we can avoid that today and come out of here with another good finish. If you haven't seen the last video, the British Grand Prix, I recommend you go check that one out. Certainly a interesting race, jam-packed full of action. We got involved in an incident on the first lap. We carved our way back up into a solid point scoring position, but then was involved in an accident on the final lap, which basically ruined all the hard work we did. So yeah, last round didn't really go to plan at all. So we'll try and rebound here at Austria if we can. Somehow after Silverstone, if I remember correctly, we have actually taken the lead of the championship, despite the fact that we finished P12, I think it was. So yeah, even with a dismal finish like that, we still take the lead of the championship. And yeah, it is still crazy close in this championship, even though 5 rounds have been and gone. I think there's still like 6 guys that are mathematically still well and truly within a chance of, winning this championship. But Hercules, I think that was crossed the line for an opening account of a 102.9. We immediately beat that on a 102.7, but no sooner do I finish that sentence and we are beaten by our Leonis teammate in Harry Banks. So the times very quickly chopping and changing. We went out again with about 11 minutes to go, invalidated that run, so we're on our 3rd run of the session now, about 2 tenths up, but as we come through the final corner, turn in a little bit too late, we drifted wide, and that is an invalidation on a 102.58. To be honest, that didn't worry me that much because that lap wasn't that good. I knew there was definitely more time there. So on to basically the final run of the session now, 2 minutes remaining. I did fuel up, so I had enough time to go again if the need arose. Hopefully it doesn't, but anyway, through the middle sector, we're not quite a 1/10 and a half up at the moment. Purple to the middle sector, but as we come through the left-hander, we run a little bit too wide, and that is another invalidation. I did try to go again, but I invalidated on the exit of turn 1. And, well, I mean, look at that. The results speak for themselves. P9. That's pretty shocking. That's not good at all. So we've got our work cut out now to try and do something from back here. I do definitely believe we should have at least been probably P3. I'd been doing 102.4s all morning in GP mode, so I knew the time was there. It was just a matter of hooking the lap up, which unfortunately we were not able to do. So instead of maybe a front row start, we're down in P9, which yeah, is pretty average. So yeah, we've got our work cut out from back here. We're going to have to try and make moves here at the start as quickly as we can. We know how quick Venoms can be at the start, but he does tend to fall off in the latter stages. So hopefully we can play that to our advantage a little bit here today. And who knows, maybe if you can back the queue up a little bit, then maybe, just maybe, we could start to sneak our way towards the top 5 and maybe even the top 3 as well. Obviously, I would really love to win, as that's kind of my mindset every week. I want to win these races, but sometimes when you have a bad qualifying or something doesn't go to plan, you've kind of got to be a little bit optimistic. So I think a podium is going to be the aim here today. First, second or third, whichever. That's, you know, that's a guessing game really. Let me know where you guys think I'm going to end up. So, yeah, I think that's basically everything we need to cover. We're all reformed back on the grid. We're all ghosted. That's a little bit awkward. We were actually waiting on me there. But anyway, here we go. 5 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix. And lights out and away we go. It looks like a pretty decent start compared to the AlphaTauri. Alongside us, Jurassic goes to the inside there. We're going to look right around the outside of both the Alfa Romeo and the AlphaTauri. We're getting the move done on the AlphaTauri. Now we're trying to make a move on the Alfa Romeo. Vettel just up ahead here. And this is where things get a little bit awkward as people go 2 by 2. I can't really go anywhere there. We had someone looking up my inside. I think that was Neo in the Red Bull. Very ambitious dive. Didn't quite pay off. Stays in P10. But we've gained the position up to P8. So not a bad start. Not perfect. But we've gone forwards, not backwards. So next up is going to be the Ferrari of TTG Vettel. Now, he actually had a very good qualifying. I think he was up in 4th or something from memory. But the Ferrari driver has not had a real good start to this race. Maybe just struggling a bit with tyre temps, I'm not sure. But that Ferrari is not looking too friendly to drive. It looks very nervous in the rear end. So we'll try and get by here as quickly as we can to make sure that these front runners don't get too far up the road. Obviously, it is crucial we make ground as soon as we can. Because the longer we get held up, the harder our race is going to be, particularly towards the back end. Who was that? Csl Elite retires in the pit lane, so the McLaren driver not even completing a lap of the Austrian Grand Prix before retiring, so a bit unfortunate for the German there. But meanwhile, up to the top of the hill, Vettel ran a little bit deep there, almost run into the back of Jurassic, and now we're up the inside, and we should get this done. Late on the brakes, down the inside, easy as you like, up to P7. So, there we go. Cutting on now to, what's this, lap number 3. That is Young Power coming in to the pit lane, who I think actually got a bit of front wing damage, if I remember correctly. Harry with the fastest lap of the race there, a 106.3. We're on a 106.4 at the moment, so our pace was pretty good. But the one thing I really was worried about was DRS. I knew if Jurassic couldn't stay within that 1 second of those guys in front, then we might be in a little bit of trouble. So I wanted to try and get past the Alfa Romeo driver here, but he was very good in a straight line and his traction was very good as well. That was making it just a little bit difficult to try and get by. As you can see, I'm just trying to, you know, figure out where I'm a little bit stronger, where I'm a bit weaker, and see what I can figure out. Cutting on to, what are we now, lap number 5. We have got past the Alfa Romeo driver, and we are actually up to P4. Now, I think from memory, there was a little bit of an accident where I think it was Hercules actually got front wing damage, and I think Jurassic might have made contact with him, and both of those two got caught up, which basically handed us 2 free positions. So yeah, up to P4 now. So Creaser and Harry are next on the hit list, but unfortunately, however, they are outside of the 1 second window, which meant, as much as I didn't want to, I had to burn through a lot of fuel and a lot of ERS to get back within that 1 second window. And onto lap 9, we've managed to do that now. We've gotten DRS to the front 3. We've actually pulled Vettel along with us as well, quite nicely. So the Ferrari driver, although he seemed to have a rough start to this race, he's hanging in there quite nicely at the moment, so doing very, very well is the Ferrari man. But yeah, our race at the moment has kind of hit stalemate. There's not really a lot we can do. At the moment, really, I was just trying to save ERS while sitting in the DRS. Obviously, these guys, they weren't slow by any stretch of the imagination, so I still had to push and burn through a little bit of ERS here and there. But anywho, on to the end of lap 10. We're going to come in the pits now for a set of hard tyres. Creaser comes in as well. Harry stays out, and I think, who was that? That was Vettel stayed out as well. Jurassic stayed out. So a few people electing to run a little bit longer, maybe looking to try and get to a point in the race where they can get the medium tyres to the end. That'll be an interesting strategy call to see if anyone can make that work. But as we re-emerge back on the track, where is Venom's? I think that was actually him going through turn 1. And yes, I think it was. So we have lost out massively there. Venom only with a 1 lap undercut, but that has paid off massively for our teammate there, the second Mercedes driver. And he now reassumes the effective lead of the Grand Prix with a bit of a gap over Creaser in effective P2 and ourselves in effective P3. We do have to keep an eye out for Harry though, because as you can see on screen right now, we are trying to work our way through traffic. Harry, although he's on old soft tyres, he's got clean air. He's just able to run a nice consistent lap. So it'll be interesting to see where Harry does come out in relation to Creaser and myself, because I certainly don't think he's going to challenge Venoms. Speaking of challenging though, we're going to challenge Nightshades into the left-hander there, up the inside. We got the better run off the corner with the better tyres, and we get the move done up into P8. Next up is the Ferrari, who does have 6 seconds worth of time penalties, so he is not really in contention at the moment. But as you can see on the lap 14, Harry has pitted, he's got the mediums on, and he has re-emerged in effective P3. So Harry in a great position to maybe have a shot at winning this race. He needs to clear Creaser and the rest of the traffic, however, as quickly as he can, because Venoms has gotten through all the traffic pretty damn nicely, and I think he's actually at the head of the queue right now. So doing very, very well is our fellow Mercedes driver. Cutting on to lap 15, who's that? I think that's Killer, the other Alfa Romeo. Makes an absolute meal of the braking at the top of the hill there, completely gets it wrong, and basically gifts 2 positions to Creaser and Harry Banks. So we're going to try and follow them through here in a minute. We can't really do anything in this middle sector, which is really annoying, because Killer on the older tyres, and well, as you can see, we're not on old tyres, but we're still sliding around a little bit. We don't want to be doing that too much, but Killer, as you can see, actually pulls over and just lets us go there. I'm not too sure if that was just out of generosity or if he was actually making a pit stop. I think he's actually making a pit stop, and he is. You can see on the top left there. So the Alfa Romeo driver peels in, and he actually retires from the race. Quite interesting. I'm not too sure why he would have done that, but anyway, that promotes us up to, where are we now? P6. So still effective P4. And as you can see, I think that is Cagino, the other AlphaTauri, up there in P3 on the road. Now, crucially, Cagino hasn't stopped, but he has not let Venoms get away. But onto lap 18, I think he did make a little bit of a mistake on lap 17, which allowed Harry through. Now, Creaser is going to have a run at the AlphaTauri, and we are going to try and get through here as well. I do not want to be held up by a guy on a completely different strategy. A little bit of contact on the exit there, wheel to wheel, I think, more than anything. He's still there on our left-hand side, but I think we should just about get this move done. We've got no ERS remaining either, but we go down the inside, job done on the AlphaTauri, and that is up to P5, effective P4 obviously, as I think there's a Haas up there which is still yet to stop. So yeah, he's going to go try and run long, I'm guessing, but Nightshades has retired out of the final corner, I think, and now we have a safety car. So this changes everything. With 16 laps to go, we have a safety car. Now, this poses a bit of a dilemma. Venoms is 2 seconds up the road and he pits. I'm going to follow suit because I want a new set of medium tyres, but unfortunately we are going to have to stack a little bit here. As you can see, I did slow up ever so slightly on the pit entry there, just to try and minimise the time lost. I didn't do it too much, obviously, because, you know, you can't completely back everyone up by like 5 seconds, because that's just being ridiculous. But, yeah, anyway, so in the end, it looks like we are going to re-emerge in 7th position. So, not too bad. I think we are effective the effectively, the third car without time penalties on track. So we are definitely still within a good chance of scoring a podium here today, but we're going to have to hope that our pace on these new mediums, well, we're going to have to hope for two things actually. One, our pace on these mediums is really good, and two, a couple of the guys who put soft tyres on, like Harry Banks up there in P5, gotta hope those soft tyres die off a little bit, because yeah, he is going to be at a massive pace advantage here at this restart. Speaking of the restart, on to the end of lap 22, and that is exactly what is happening. So I think it's Prix leads us away from Jurazi, and Vettel I think is your top three. I'm not too sure who's in fourth, but then you've got Harry in P5, Venom's P6, ourselves in P7, then you got Cadinho and Neo in 8th and 9th right behind us. But both of those two have quite a few penalties, so they're not really in this fight for the overall result at the end of the race. Our teammate Venoms, as you can see, does have 3 seconds worth of penalties, and he is probably the guy who is going to work his way through the traffic, probably better than anyone, as he always seems to be pretty good at doing. But on to the end of lap 24, we're going to go for a big move on TTG Vettel in the Ferrari, side by side through the final corner, penultimate corner and the final corner, excuse me, and we get the job done. That did cost us time, but honestly, that actually didn't bother me too much. At the point in time when I made that move, I was actually, I was grinning ear to ear when I made that move. That was one of the best moves I've made in a long time, and massive props to Vettel for actually leaving the space to make that overtake possible, because it would have been quite easy for him to just turn across me there, but luckily he didn't do that. So on to lap 27, we're going to try dive up the inside of Scott Bugner up to the top of the hill. That has not worked. We tagged the Haas, send him into a half spin, and as much as I didn't want to do this because I didn't want to let the leaders go, I decided to redress. It was my fault. You know, we come from a mile back just trying to make progress, and it just didn't pay off. But anyway, a few corners later, Cadinho makes a mistake, so that is a free position back, which is all well and good. So yeah, back up to P6. Now we've got Scott Bugner and Prix going at it. Prix has stayed out, don't forget, on the hard tyres, so that racing point is just falling back through the field at the moment. And as you can see, they go side by side through turn 1 there, neither of them wanting to yield. So now we're going to try and make a move on Scott once again to the inside, but he brakes very late. I thought he was going to try and get past Harry there, so I backed out of it at the last minute. Prix gets very sideways on the exit as well there. Cadinho is still there somewhere on the left-hand side as well, so I've got to watch out for him. Down in the braking zone, there's the AlphaTauri. He goes way too deep, locks up the right front, misses the apex, sorry, and that allows us to jump up to P5. So a pretty neat double overtake there, I guess you could say. So anyway, on to lap 30. We're up behind Scott Bugner once again. Harry trying to go for a move on Jurazi, and that has not worked at all. Our Leonis teammate in the Renault, who looked on course to win this race on penalties, has been spun out. And, oh man, I've got to be honest, that really sucks, because, as Harry said, you know, these guys, they're on older tyres, and they've got penalties as well, so sometimes it is a little bit confusing as to why they fight so hard for positions that they're not actually fighting for. But anyway, on to lap 33. We are going to try and successfully do what Harry couldn't do, and that is get past Jurazi. We send it on the inside at the top of the hill there, but unfortunately he's got good straight line speed in that Alfa Romeo, and that just about keeps him ahead. Still side by side, wheel to wheel contact on the exit there, and at this point I was really starting to get annoyed, because Venoms, who does have 3 seconds worth of penalties, is starting to drive away. And well, obviously you can see Scott Bugner has 6 seconds and Jurazi has 9, so we need to get past these two. Round the outside of Jurazi, very late on the brakes. He moved left a little bit there in the braking zone. That's not too good, but anyway, we should just about get this move done. A little bit more contact in the braking zone there for the left-hander. I might have moved over on him slightly, but I think that's all fair considering what he did to us at the bottom of the hill there. So, up to P3. Next up is Scott Bugner in the Haas. We've got to try and clear him as quickly as possible. We've already had 2 cracks at this and they've both failed. Third time's the charm, maybe. Round the outside at the top of the hill. A little bit of contact once again, but we get a good run. On the outside, I think we've got a little bit more ERS than the Haas driver as well, and we should get this done. Hard on the brakes, he can't fight back, and that is us up into P2. And our teammate Venoms, who now has 6 seconds worth of penalties, I think he got another 3 seconds through turn 1, if I remember the last few laps correctly. So he now has 6 seconds worth of penalties, and we have absolutely nothing. So at the moment, we are on course to win this Austrian Grand Prix, which would be unbelievable after starting 9th on the grid. But it's not done with yet. We've still got a lap of racing yet to go. Anything could happen. Scott Bugner, half a second behind us there in the Haas as well. Now, I was thinking at this point, would he try and retaliate? I was hoping he wouldn't because, you know, we're not really racing each other. But as you can see, he has a pretty good run up the hill, but he decides not to go for anything there, which I was very happy about. Obviously, you know, maybe thinking it's not worth it, and it's really not, to be honest. He's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, and you know, I'm still trying to chase down Venoms, who's got 6 seconds worth of penalties. So yeah, that would have probably cost us both time if he had to try to repass us there, and yeah, it would have really just cost us both time for you know, for no reason really. But anyway, well, I've been waffling on. The final lap has already passed just like that. So through the penultimate corner, and now the final. Venoms is going to win on track, but due to penalties, we are going to come from 9th on the grid to win the race. Get in there. Yes.
Great job, really good job.
Yeah, guys. Whew. Thank you. That was good. That was amazing.
Alright, so there we go, guys. That's been today's video, and a cracking one at that. Round number 6 for EML F1, the Austrian Grand Prix. And man, what a crazy race. From 9th on the grid. I would have loved to win that race, but to be honest, I did not expect it to actually happen. But we made moves at the right time. A little bit of luck fell our way for once, and we have come through from P9 to win the race. Driver of the day as well, so that's a nice little bonus. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, just thank you for the support as always, and I'll see you for the next video again very soon. Take care.